Welcome to Bobby Does Recaps. This is Percy Jackson and the Olympians, Season 2. Last season ended with Percy officially claimed as Poseidon's son and Grover, Percy's best friend, officially licensed to quest for the missing god Pan. Of course, that quest isn't going well. Grover, out there all alone, gets jumped by a couple of ex-campers working for Luke. You remember him, son of Hermes, last season's big betrayer. Except they're not hunting for Pan, they're hunting for something else. More on that later. Back in the real world, Percy's got a new roommate, Tyson, a cyclops his mom Sally took off the street. I thought it was bad when my mom took in stray cats. Tyson's he's a big dork. So Percy's not exactly thrilled he's tagging along everywhere. Percy has a nightmare about Grover in danger, and separately, Sally has her own unsettling dream. Something about a coin spinning in the dark, a trident on one side, a scythe on the other. On the way to school, Percy and Tyson get scooped up by Annabeth, who also had a bad dream, but hers was Camp Half-Blood on fire. She's also like, dude, I read your letters and you forgot to mention the Cyclops roommate. Anyway, the cab Annabeth arrived in is driven by the Grace sisters. You know, the three hags that share one eyeball between them. They can see all but never want to tell anybody what they see. Luckily, they drop the eye and Percy uses it to barter for Grover's location. The answer they give? 30, 31, 75, 12. It's obvious latitude and longitude coordinates, but Percy obviously didn't pay attention in geography class, so he has no clue. They arrive at camp mid-attack. Lastrygonians are storming the border, but it's a distraction. All so Luke can poison Thalia's tree. Remember Thalia, daughter of Zeus? She sacrificed herself to save Annabeth and Luke. Zeus turned her into a tree, and that tree is what keeps the camp barrier powered. Yeah, her. You get it. Camp's also under new management. Tantalus is in charge now. Zeus canned Chiron for being a son of Kronos. And Percy's like, isn't Zeus also? Anyway, Tantalus spots Tyson and orders the campers to kill him. They're about to shoot when a trident appears over his head, and you know what that means. Woo! Another close call saved by a Poseidon paternity test. So yeah, Percy's got a half Cyclops, half god, half brother. Tyson's thrilled about it, and Mr. D, remember Dionysus? He thinks it's hilarious. Percy wants a quest to save Thalia's tree, but Tantalus won't authorize it. He's hyper-focused on the camp's upcoming chariot race. That night, Percy and Grover share a linked dream. It's a satyr demigod best friend thing. Grover reveals he's trapped in a cave by a cyclops. Polyphemus, another half-cyclops, half-god, half-brother. Thanksgiving's gotta be wild for this family. Grover gives Percy coordinates that match the numbers the Grace sisters spat out earlier. Percy finally gets it. The barrier keeps getting worse. During the chariot race, a flock of monster birds attack, and Percy, thinking fast, uses the sacred power of Mariah Carey to drive them away. I'm not kidding. Afterwards, Tantalus finally authorizes an official Golden Fleece quest, naming Clarisse, daughter of Ares, and Percy's least favorite camper, as leader. The fleece can heal anything, so in theory, it can heal the tree. Clarisse picks her team, Annabeth for quest experience, and a Hermes kid she's got a crush on, Chris Rodriguez. Percy's left off the list entirely. So of course, Percy decides to go after Grover alone. Annabeth catches him, argues, but goes with him. Tantalus catches them sneaking off campgrounds, pulls out a crossbow, and tells them to say their last words, fully intending to execute them. I'd say this escalated quickly, but this guy's entire myth is about being punished for killing his own son. So it tracks. Tyson tackles him just in time, and the three escape together to a cruise ship that just happens to be right off the coast. Unfortunately, it turns out to be crawling with monsters because, yeah, it's Luke's ship. Bet you saw that one coming. A lot happens on the cruise ship. Percy gets captured, then escapes, finds out Kronos is on board and Luke needs the fleece to bring Kronos back. He also finds out about the great prophecy, and once they flee the ship, Annabeth finally comes clean. Turns out Chiron's been hiding this from Percy all season. The prophecy basically says a child of the eldest three gods will make a choice at age 16 that either destroys or saves Olympus. Meanwhile, Clarisse has her own crew now, an undead ship staffed by dead soldiers Ares raised from the grave. She runs into Percy's group. He challenges her to single combat to keep her busy, while Annabeth, invisible under her magic hat, quietly takes out the three crew members whose skills exactly match theirs. With her specialists gone, Clarisse is stuck letting Percy's group join just to keep the ship running. Now, to get the Fleece, they must pass through the Sea of Monsters, which means they have two choices: sacrifice 6 crew members to a tentacle monster for an easy, safe passage, or try to get past a huge whirlpool. Clarisse refuses to sacrifice her crew, so they head towards the whirlpool. And yeah, it doesn't go well. The ship is destroyed and everyone is thrown off the ship. Percy and Annabeth wash up at a strange island resort run by Circe. You know, the witch from the Odyssey. She likes turning her guests into animals. Now she specializes in finding your fatal flaw before the sirens can use it against you. Percy's flaw is the dangerous kind. Loyalty to his friends so extreme that he'd burn down the world just to save one of them. Long story short, they escape the resort and Percy saves Annabeth from sirens pretending to be her mom, Athena. Also, they're now sailing straight towards the island where Polyphemus is keeping Grover. They find Grover inside a cave disguised as a bride. Don't ask. It's a long con about wedding traditions and bad Cyclops eyesight. And, surprise, Clarisse is alive and also a prisoner. Turns out she got there first, tried to rescue Grover, and failed. Now, Percy's here to save the day. Nope, he fails too. Now it's up to Annabeth. Using the oldest trick in the Odyssey, she's like, "Hi, my name's Nobody." While he's furious about that callback, Grover sniffs out the real Fleece. They head to the cave exit, but no! Polyphemus traps them inside. Annabeth tries, but fails to save them. Just then, Tyson shows up. He's alive and apparently been watching a lot of pro wrestling. He beats Polyphemus in a straight-up Cyclops on Cyclops epic showdown. But the win costs them. Annabeth's dying. Now, Luke shows up, and Percy's stuck with an impossible call. Hand over the Fleece so Luke can heal her, or keep it for the quest. Of course, he picks his friend. Clarisse is livid, but Percy does it anyway. Luke does heal Annabeth, but then immediately takes her prisoner and bolts. So now, Percy, Grover, Clarisse, and Tyson hop on some hippocampi and board Luke's ship. Again. This time on purpose. Long story short, they get the Fleece and Annabeth. Percy gives the Fleece to Clarisse, tells her to take Blackjack, a random Pegasus he found along the way, and finish her quest. He also apologizes for throwing her oracle prophecy at her earlier, and he reframes it. It never meant she'd fail for lacking friends, only that she needed to have them to find her way home. Convenient. Now, Percy, Annabeth, Grover, and Tyson get picked up by Sally, while Clarisse flies ahead with the Fleece. Which brings us to the finale. Camp's under full siege. Giants at the border, a traitor already inside, and a camp director who still tried to do the chariot race even when he takes a fireball to the face. And Mr. D flatly refuses to help unless an actual Titan shows up. So, Percy does the only thing he can think of. He gives a pep talk. Nobody's coming to save them but themselves. And it works! In the middle of it, Percy and Luke end up face to face again, swords out. Right before the fight breaks off, Luke tells him something that's going to matter in about 30 seconds. The prophecy was never about you, Percy. It was always Thalia. Then, a real gut punch. Remember Chris Rodriguez, the Hermes kid Clarisse had a crush on? Turns out he's been working for Luke this entire fleece-hunting, camp-defending, friendship-having season. He nearly kills Clarisse, but Grover and Annabeth arrive together to bail her out. She gets the Fleece to the tree, it hits the bark, and Thalia's spirit tears loose mid-battle, screaming one word. Never! The release of energy somehow knocks her and Percy both out. Now, Percy gets a dream visit from his dad, Poseidon, confirming the wars really started and hinting Percy is, in fact, part of that great prophecy, directly contradicting what Luke just told him. And unfortunately, nobody resolves that contradiction this season. Also, Poseidon recruits Tyson to work Hephaestus's forge, so Tyson's off to make some weapons. Percy wakes up 3 days later to find out Camp survived, and just in time for Chiron to drop the actual bomb. Remember the story everybody got told about Thalia dying a hero? You know, fighting the Furies? Turns out it's a lie Zeus ordered Chiron to tell. So what really happened? The Furies delivered a message from Hades meant to turn Thalia against her father. So Zeus showed up to guilt her into becoming his weapon for the coming war, and Thalia told him never. Right before he turned her into a tree. Chiron sat on that for 6 years. Boom! Thunder strikes, the doors open, and Thalia Grace walks in. She hugs Annabeth and says,
"Where's Luke?"
Awkward. And that's a wrap. If you like this recap, hit that subscribe button, and I look forward to recapping another show for you very soon.